How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the Crypto ZX channel. We're going to be talking about everything XRP here, really understanding, what's happening with XRP, and of course, what we could be expecting as we are going into Saturday. Obviously, right now, the day of Friday is not over. Hope you guys are having a wonderful Friday, wherever you are around the world, and are excited for this upcoming weekend. Looking over the last 1 hour, you're starting to see some sort of excitement coming into the crypto markets, but in a grand scheme of things, we're down quite a bit still over the course of the last 24 hours, because as we can see, the broader market is down, and I'm sure if you follow the channel on a regular basis, you guys know exactly what's happening. With the price of XRP currently sitting at $2.14, so it has seen a little bit of an uptick since yesterday, but still down about 2.2% in USD and about 2.2% in BTC. Comparative valuation at $126 billion, and the 24-hour trading volume is sitting at a staggering $4 billion. But before we get into any further, as always, just a quick disclaimer: anything on this channel is not financial advice. Always do your own due diligence and research when you are investing in crypto. So Coinbase sees crypto bull run ahead, forecast new BTC all-time highs in H2 2025, but warns of systematic risk from leveraged corporate bets. So very, very interesting. So pretty much in terms of everyone considering, what's going to happen in the second half of the year, a lot of people are anticipating, and when I say people, a lot of analysts are still projecting, the crypto market to really have a nice boom into the second half of the year, and I'm personally projecting that as well. We have seen signs of that. If you're looking at BTC, just a week and a half ago, we were sitting on the verge of breaking towards a new all-time high. But yes, right now, what we need to understand is where this money is flowing in from. This is not retail. This is big corporate, big entities that are coming in full force for BTC, this new digital asset, which is, in crazy amounts of demand. We need to keep that factor in mind. But retail, I think, is really going to start to kick in once you see the dominance pulling down. Retail, I think, is already priced out. Believe it or not, retail's priced out of BTC. It doesn't really matter about retail interest into BTC anymore, because this is driven by the big players at this point. Like I said, it's priced out. Who has $100,000 to buy BTC? Like I said, it's a very small percentage of retail investors. It is the big players that are coming in. And just like this, a lot of digital assets, the big utility projects such as Ripple, I think, are going to follow this Bitcoin trend, where we are going to see them getting priced out as well. You might not see this happening right now, but believe it or not, this is going to happen as blockchain gets into the mainstream media. So look at this. Shout out to Riz XRP. Institutional FOMO at the beginning of 1,700 NDAs. As we know, there's 1,700 NDAs that Ripple has signed. Is this really the start of us kind of hearing back from what those really NDAs are, now that things are becoming more clear? Are these companies or the NDAs that are signed, are they finally able to announce these things? You can see Trident 500 million, Webbest 300 million to launch an XRP reserve, Vivo Power, Logistics, Hyperscale, Worksport, BC Bud, Digitalcom. You are seeing big things happening for XRP. And yes, we're talking about the native token. And moving forward, when the world's largest retailers are considering their own stablecoin, that crypto has finally arrived at the mainstream. This is how CoinDesk Reports covered a big week for stablecoins in the wild in Congress. So, Walmart as well as Amazon are, looking into launching their own stablecoins. Are we surprised? Absolutely not. Look at this. Passing the Stablecoin Bill Genius Act could help grow the USD stablecoin market from $250 billion to over $2 trillion by 2028. And this is where RLUSD could potentially take a huge chunk of that pie, because of the fact that it has that regulatory compliance aspect to it. So, when it comes to bigger entities, they are wanting to, or even exchanges, they are wanting to, obviously put on a coin that is regulatory compliant rather than the ones that are not. So huge stuff, of course, and this really gives us a better understanding why Genius Act is so big and revolutionary for the crypto space. And look at this. Just imagine when hundreds of institutions are doing, just imagine when hundreds of institutions are doing the same as the ones in the below picture. when they start holding billions of dollars worth of XRP directly, it's not just the payment volumes, it's about institutional holding XRP, in masses. You aren't ready, and I could not agree more. So we're already starting to see a little bit of hints of that really playing out for us right in front of us. Reserves being filed for, these entities raising money to, actually buy XRP. And that really shows you where this is really heading. And imagine when the XRP ETF goes live, it's on Wall Street. It's just going to become even more accessible, for these bigger players to come on board. And this is where, that potential big price increase could really play in effect. So this is where all the speculators come in and talk about it, because we look at the potential, look at how much millions and sometimes even billions of dollars of inflows coming in a week for some of these ETFs, Ethereum and Bitcoin. So imagine when XRP comes on board. I personally think XRP will outpace Ethereum ETF inflows. I'm very, very confident on that. Again, it's my own personal opinion. I'm just basing it off of the hype factor that we're already seeing. So of course, the fact that XRP will be getting that ETF once it does, I think it's going to attract more people than ever. And of course, when it comes from the price aspect as well, obviously circulation supply is needing to be considered, but people will be, more willing to get the XRP ETF rather than the Ethereum, because the Ethereum ETF is already, too high compared to that. So we'll see what happens. Look at this. Tammy Camp, founder of Stronghold, highlights how Ripple and Stellar can be seamlessly embedded into applications during a panel hosted by Amazon Web Services. So if you don't know if these big entities aren't already, diving in, you might want to rethink that. They are diving in, and they're not diving in just yet. They've been, for quite some time. If you look at VeChain, VeChain Thor blockchain is being used by, Amazon Web Services. Also, some bigger players. H&M is one, BMW, Walmart, China. So these guys are already dabbling into blockchain before you even know. Like, it's not that they're just coming on board right now. They've been going all in. But now I think, when it comes to the North American side of things, as there is regulation coming in, more clarity coming towards the crypto industry, this is where, the North American subsidiaries are going to be more leaning to, get into that blockchain space. But moving forward, look at this. There are now 0% chance of interest rate cut at the June FOMC meeting. Instead, the market is giving a very, very, very small chance of a rate hike, which is very, interesting take. Let me know in the comments down below, because of course, if there's no rate cut, then I think we pretty much stay sideways, because if there was a rate cut, I was expecting, some excitement for the crypto space. But we'll see what happens. If you're looking at the Bitcoin dominance, it's currently sitting at 64.75%. It's still, going quite high. We're obviously on the verge of yet again, retesting the yearly highs that we set for ourselves. If you're looking at BTC, let's actually take a look at Bitcoin right now. I think it's on this. Yeah. So if you're looking at BTC here, it's at $105,600. We're approaching that key resistance at the 106,800. If we're able to claim back above here, honestly, we're back to where we want to be. But right now, obviously, that's not the case. I do personally would love to see that resistance being reclaimed. If it's able to do that, I think we could really see things starting to heat up. If you're looking at XRP, of course it has gone up since our last update, but it's still obviously down quite a bit from where we were prior to this pullback. If you want to put this into perspective, we still have a move of about 9% to get back to where we were, but it's holding much better than the broader market, as I've stated to you guys before yesterday, and you can see that right now as well. We're still in the 38.2. You cannot ignore that. Let me know down below what you guys think. We'll see you later in Crypto ZX, and peace out.